So we just wanted to go through a little bit about, we've heard about ramping up genetic gain, and we've got all these tools for you to use. We thought we'd just go through the website a little bit and show you what we have at this stage for you guys to actually utilise and impact, or for you to use to impact and drive your genetic gain. So just a quick show of hands. We've asked at all of our regional forums in the last year, how many people actually use the tools section of the website or go to the dashboard? Yeah, a couple. That's more than we got at regional forums. I think the highest number we got was 2 out of 30. So I think it's one thing we really need to work on is making sure that everyone knows this is available. So the dashboard is pretty cool. We all know that the genetic trends report that you get back from an analysis is 1 page. Like, that's not always going to have the traits that you're interested in. So we've just got the dashboard here. Because Clara is an admin, she can actually search any flock. Of course, she doesn't choose a merino flock. We'll have to sort that out later. But pretty much here we can have a look at any genetic trend. So any trait that is calculated. We can have a look at inbreeding, any index, not just the ones that are on the PDF. So you can see here Clara's got up her post-weaning weight. You can break it down as well. I think sometimes you want to be keeping an eye on the rams that you've used as sires, or you want to just look at your ewes or your males. So we can do that breakdown as well. So you can get a little bit more information through this than you can with the reports. So that's the dashboard part of the website. It's not new, but I think we are looking at anything that you would like to see on this, flick it through, we can do the development, scope out whether we can use it, and go from there. The new and exciting things on the dashboard, the merino billing, that's not very exciting at all, I can promise you. But we can do other things on here as well now. So we've got the mate cell. If you've done the training, you'll have it available here. But we've also got the ramping up genetic gain. So all the things that Luke was talking about the other day, we can now, at a click of a button, look at a person's flock and get all of that information, selection efficiency, generation interval, all of that going. So if we go into there, of course we choose Farah again, come on. So first we can look at pedigree. So we can go here, we can look at how many animals they've been telling us about each year, how many males and females they're telling us about. So are they actually showing us the full distribution? So how effective is the data going to be? We've got our generation interval there for our average sire age and our average dam age. So it's a bit of a snapshot of how to look through and all of those categories that Luke was talking about yesterday, how your flock goes. And as he said before, you're only going to make genetic gain if you know where you stand now. So we've also got pedigree breakdown there. It's great to see so much blue there. So that just means he's recording full pedigree. Luke said before, the guys doing it well are the ones recording full pedigree. So if we look down next, we've got our flock performance. And this is just looking at the percentage of the flock that you're telling us about. How many of those animals are you actually recording for those traits? So we've got some of the major traits that are in that index. So I think this is Carcass Plus. And then we've also got an average index accuracy there for that year drop. And as Luke said again yesterday, we've got that significance of the people that are making the most gain are the ones that have, on average, a more accurate index. So it just gives you a bit of a snapshot over each year. We've then got our selection efficiency. So Luke said yesterday, if you've got your top is 100%, your average is 0. So you can see his selection efficiency for his males and his females. And how much gain he's making is there as well in your index gain. And you've got your index accuracy there again. So,
just to point out, in 2016 where those zeros are in that column, that's because those animals have not been used as sires yet. So it only shows a value there if those animals have actually gone on to produce progeny in your flock. You'll also see that if somebody has only used external sires that year, you won't have a selection efficiency because you haven't chosen any of your own males. So that's why that figure there is 0.
Darren, if you have any comments about the flock, yell out too. She's picking on you a little bit, isn't she? So we've also then got our data summary. So this is where we don't just look at the traits that are important to the index, but all traits that you've recorded and how that data is that you've been measuring and taking the time and effort to do, how that's being utilised in the analysis. So we've got contemporary groups there, so you can see on average how many contemporary groups you've got. We talk about it a lot at regional forums, how you give us management groups, we split that data up even more when we need to. So it's a bit of a way to see, well, what's happening on farm, but how is it being analysed in the analysis? And I think that feedback's really good to have because a lot of the time you don't really know. We've also got the percentage recorded there again, so we can see if we're seeing the full distribution of the flock. Effective progeny, so Sally touched on it as well, making sure that groups, your data is effective, that you haven't got a single sire group that it's not useful to us in any way or anything like that. We've then got the percent linkage. So for each trait, how well linked are you? It is all a bit of an average of all of those contemporary groups, but it does give a bit of a snapshot for us to say, well, maybe that doesn't make sense, or let's look into that further. And then we've got our age variation and our birth type variation. And they're just saying, are you telling us that more than one date of birth? Or are you telling us in those contemporary groups that we've got singles and twins? So it's probably a good thing you didn't pick the merinos for that example actually, because a lot of them will say zeros. So it already flags different things that we can look at there. And we just do a snapshot of this for every year drop. So then we got the sire summary. Sally showed that before. So this is what we've done here is we've got the sires that have been used in each year drop. You've got your progeny numbers and how many flocks they've been used in. But then the numbers in each year drop, that's not how many lambs you had to that sire. That's how many lambs you've actually measured that are going to impact and link you to other flocks, or potentially link you to other flocks. So it's the ones that are actually going to be utilised. If they're above 10 animals, they're blue. If they're below red, that's when if they're below 10, that's when they're red. And that's just saying, hang on, we're probably not going to be having as effective groups if we've got lots of progeny like that.
Where that mouse is sitting on that cursor, that is actually an interactive list. So you can click on that and it'll take you to our search site and list all of the progeny by that sire. So when you're scrolling through this, you'll be able to say, oh, I need to see all of the progeny from that. So you can click on that link and it'll take you to that spot.
So the final one is the reproduction. We could probably do a groups as well. So the final one is reproduction. Obviously, terminal sire, there's probably not that big of an issue that all of the boxes are red here. But it's just a way for us to say how many preg scans are you submitting to us that are being used in the analysis? How many numbers, dams have you identified? And then a yes or a no if you're in the yearling number of lambs born or number of lambs weaned analysis, and then again for your adults. So it's just a bit more of a snapshot of how you're going with your repro. Maybe you're not getting there because you've got 100% fertility. A lot of the time we just call bullshit on that. So yeah, we can look at that and see why you're potentially not getting into the reproduction analysis as well. Since we can, we'll go into groups. This is one of the last things Dave did, and it's very cool. And this is just a way of showing that showing the contemporary groups in a visual way. So as your management groups, they build over time from weaning all the way through. This is just showing, okay, well, how are the groups being analysed? How many animals are flowing through? It's probably too good of an example here. A lot of the merino ones are very red. You can see, which means that we've got less than 10 animals in those contemporary groups. And we can see movements of animals. We can see rams go in and out of the shed, things like that. But it's just showing if that lines up to how you're doing things at home, then it's great. But potentially how we're handling the data could be different to what's happening at home. So it's kind of a way of having a look at that.
So some of the things it shows is that we've got, you can look here and say, okay, this is the date of measurement. It was on the 31st of the 10th, 2014, and there was weaning weight trait and they were females. If we scroll down a little bit further, it's split them and shown that this is males. Then when you scroll over the top of it, it shows that, oh, we've got 10 groups of males that were weaned on that date, and there's 86 animals. So we can actually get a good gauge of how animals are moving through their story and how they're being measured over time.
So that's the ramping up genetic gain reports at the moment. I'm sure Luke or even Tom would be able to tell you. Clara has never experienced it. But to get all of this information for a flock, if you're going onto an on-property visit, would take a long time. Instead of that, it takes us 2 minutes to type in the flock, click the button and go. So we can now get this information out to you a hell of a lot quicker. Luke did mention the second phase of ramping up genetic gain. We would love to get this button out to everyone. Before we get there, I think we just need to tidy up a few development things, get a bit of feedback back from people who received the reports at regional forums last year. And really, I think what we need to do is put the context around it. If you click on that button and pull up your flock, how do you know where you're sitting? How do you know where the low-hanging fruit is? So it's getting that context around it, making it as easy to use as possible. But yeah, watch this space because I think it will be there in the next year. The other cool thing is probably, and the most cool thing, is mate cell. It's definitely one of the more fun jobs. But if what we've got here is the interface. We can choose the mating group, so you get a list of potential ewes and rams to be sires and dams. And what we can do is we can put on select an index that you want to breed towards, and then account for co-ancestry. So not inbreeding at that point, but common ancestry to move forward in the future. So Clara's already loaded all of this through. So we'll just go to the fun part, and that's running it. And the beauty of mate cell is that it takes about 2 minutes. It doesn't take long at all, and it's interactive and straight there. So with mate cell, we don't offer this straight away, or it's not there available to everyone on the tools page yet. What you need to do is go through a training course, and that's just giving you time with Brian Kinghorn, the creator, and us just going through and making sure that you're understanding what the program does. Because it is quite easy to use, but the theory behind it is pretty technical. So what we've got here is the frontier. So it's got those ewes and rams lists that we put in, and it's calculating the frontier, which is the highest possible index and the co-ancestry. So that blue line that's building at the moment is the frontier. It's saying whatever we do, that's the best possible outcome along there. That's what's possible. So we won't go above the blue line at all. The red line there, oh, it's disappeared again. But that red line is the algorithm going. So it's just looking at all of the ewes that you've done, that you put in there and the rams, and it's going, oh, what's the possible outcome here? So we'll join them all up, have a look, and then it'll go, oh, I can do better than that. So it's just trying to get as high an index as possible. So it's the yellow dot there is where it's ended up. So the outputs out of mate cell, this is one part where we're hoping to improve in the next year. We've got what settings we put on it. We can have a look at the achieved inbreeding and co-ancestry. We can look at how many rams it selected out of the list and how many ewes that it allocated it to. And then we can also have a look at a few of the other constraints. And then at the end, it actually gives you a file of every selection that it made. So this is the ram that's going to this ewe, and it calculates a mid-parent ASBV, or mid-parent value, for all of the traits. So you can see where you're actually going. So that's the main things on the website. I think we are developing that to be a little bit of a hub for you guys. If there's ever anything you'd be wanting to see on it, if you're wanting to have access to mate cell and want to come through the training, or the ramping up genetic gain stuff, if you have some feedback of how you want context around that, I think Clara and I are here to hear all of that and hopefully develop it all so we can make it easy for you to use and to have that hub to know where your flock is at now, and then tools to help you move forward quicker in the future. Yeah, thanks.